This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
Time for one last dip into the kiddie pool. Or make that the killing pool. We wrap up our second annual shark-stravaganza with the denouement of multi-cranial elasmobranchii skirmishes, which is the I bought a thesaurus way of saying that it's time to see if six-headed shark attack is not that bad. Welcome one and all to It's Not That Bad, the podcast that looks for A grades and B movies. Hello to all of our listeners in Ashburn, Virginia, and around the world. How the heck are you guys doing? Okay, we have done 4 weeks, a solid month's worth of shark films, with this being our curtain call with Six-Headed Shark Attack. And here to join me, who has run out of heads to count, my lovely wife, Carrie. Carrie, how are you doing?
I'm great, but they do say 2 heads are better than 1. Maybe 6 heads are, I'm not great at math, but 6 times better than 1?
Don't throw math at me. Math bad. Math is always bad. But yeah, this is our second annual shark-stravaganza, Shark Month, if you will. Last year, we went down Sharknado Road, and yeah, we're still in Asylum World here. So, Carrie, before we even get started on this, now that we've done both the Sharknado series and the multi-headed shark series, did you have more fun last year with the Sharknado ones, and did you at least have some fun with these?
Yeah, I want to go back to Sharknado. That somehow was more believable, way more enjoyable, and the caliber of actors. Not that I'm knocking the multi-headed shark verse, but I do miss,
You miss Finn
Tara
Shepard.
Reid, Ian Ziering.
Yeah.
I want to go back to that because this has been...
I mean, Sharknado is very much the unicorn of Asylum films in that it knew exactly what it was and leaned into it, and everyone came along for the ride. Now, admittedly, by like the 6th film, and yes, dear listeners, if you didn't listen to those episodes last year, there are 6 Sharknado films. Go ahead, treat yourself. It's a fun ride. I mean, by the 6th one, it kind of felt like we did jump the shark a little bit, but even in the worst of them, it was still fun. These ones, I think they leaned more into the just how far can we take this. There were moments in this last one, though, where I'm like, oh, it feels like you're going down that kind of camp road. And I was kind of here for it, but it remains to be seen what we think of this one. But before we get to our thoughts on the entire multi-headed shark franchise, it is time to take Six-Headed Shark Attack and trailerize it.
On a small, deserted stretch of beach in Mexico, one getaway exists. One that can best be described as what you get when you look up couples therapy on Temu. Now, 4 couples must switch from saving their marriages to saving their lives. Because how else are they going to get a refund out of the fictional character love child of Jeff Probst and Dr. Phil? The threat? A shark with more heads than Tiamat, more range than a hovercraft, and the eyes of a Funko Pop. Will these couples in counseling cope and conquer their carnivorous combatant, or will they end up divorced from the living world? Crab walk your way through 6-headed shark attack. Rated TV-14 for therapeutic violence.
Wow.
Okay, tell me I'm wrong, though. Tell me I'm wrong. When you're looking at the 6-headed shark in this film, did you not take a look at the eyes and go, oh, you're a Funko Pop waiting to happen? Because it looked like a freaking Funko Pop.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
You're trying to picture and like, yeah, no, it was like a 6-headed Funko shark. Although, how do we not have a 6-headed shark Funko Pop? I think the Asylum is missing out on a few things here. Hey, Funko, just putting it out there. There are Funkos waiting to happen from Asylum Films that you need to put out there. Because I don't know about you, I would totally buy a 6-headed shark Funko Pop.
Some things just don't need to happen. And that's one of them.
Would you rather have the 6-headed shark Funko Pop, or would you rather have the 5-headed shark Funko Pop, which has a head as a tail?
Oh, yeah, that one.
That one you get, but 6-headed shark attack is where you draw the line.
Yeah. This one was far too perfectly symmetrical. Like come on, the head at the tail. I can't make heads or tails of it, but really.
Right. But
yeah.
I mean, this, at least they put their heads to work on this one, because 4 of the heads didn't bother eating. They just did all the walking. And yeah, I said walking. If you have not seen 6-headed shark attack, dear listeners, if you're a regular listener of this podcast, what the hell are you waiting for? Go watch it, because there are moments in this movie where you sit there and go, oh, well, that happened.
Save yourself.
No.
Don't do it.
Throw
Don't.
yourself to the water. Go find the 6-headed shark attack.
You like chaos.
I do like chaos. I like pushing the big shiny red button. If the big shiny red button says play on the DVD player, so we can watch 6-headed shark attack. But let's get into who's in this movie. The movie stars Tandy Sebi, Brandon Orrit, Cord Newman, Nikita Faber, Jonathan Planar, Chris Fisher, Megan Oberholzer, Tabua Masvasi, Naima Sebi, and Caitlin Hardy. Now, I apologize if I messed up any of these names. Remember, I am an idiot Canadian in a basement with a microphone who struggles with the English language at best, so don't come to me for accuracy. The movie was directed by Mark Atkins, and we've talked about his work on this show before last year when we were in the middle of Mocktober, because he is the director of Road Wars Max Fury, which I actually didn't mind that one. It was one of the more pleasant films in our Mocktober selections, which also, dear listeners, Mocktober is just around the corner. Before you know it, we're going to be talking about more Asylum films on this show. So if you're into that kind of vibe, stay here. But the thing with Mark Atkins is he's no stranger to the world of sharks, because he's also directed Sand Sharks, Planet of the Sharks, and Empire of the Sharks. So maybe, just maybe, we have something to talk about next year during Shark Month. The movie was released August 18th, 2018. No budget listed, no box office, because this went straight to the Sci-Fi Network. And, of course, produced by our good friends over at the Asylum. We're not actually friends. I'd love to be friends with them, but we do love their work. But the reason why we are here to say adieu to 2026 Shark Month are the critics. Over Rotten Tomatoes, the film has no official tomatometer, but a 33% popcorn meter. Over at Letterboxd, 2.0 stars out of 5 for a 40% score. IMDb, 2.8 out of 10 for a 28% score. And at the movie database, 47%, giving this film the aggregate of 37%, which makes this the highest rated aggregate of the entire series. So, Carrie, I'll throw this to you right off the bat. Is this the best multi-headed shark film of the 4?
Absolutely not. What the
Tell me
Really?
Tell me how you really feel.
This piece the 6-headed shark attack is the highest of all of the movies.
I feel a purge coming on here.
I'm about to go off because this movie had no story.
Dear
Like,
listeners,
what did they do?
I have popcorn waiting to go here.
All of the characters literally went from the island to a boat to, well, this boat's not safe, so let's get in the shark-infested waters and swim to the far island when, oh, look, over behind us, there's the island right there, but let's swim across the shark-infested waters to another boat or somewhere. They literally did nothing but transfer from one destination to another, losing couples along the way. What the actual is this movie about? I don't know, but at least the other movies had, I don't know, a story, some kind of like plot. Aside from the fact that it was a couples resort, okay, so you have the location, you have the setting. Very good. Now give us something more. Nope, we're just going to transfer from one place to another. Let's go to a boat because that'll be safe. No, let's go to an island. But guess what? This shark can crawl like a little crab shark. What the is this movie about? Okay, I'm done.
Are you?
I think I had an aneurysm, but what is this movie? Really, tell me, how is this the best? Because am I missing something? Am I wrong here? Am I that far off the mark? The shark bite? I don't know.
I think we've triggered her.
So please enlighten me. What am I missing?
This summer, say I do
I am marrying a stranger.
like never before.
Am I crazy?
It's a whole new Married at First Sight on Peacock.
Thank God I woke up in love.
With new experts,
My name is Dr. Lisa.
My name's Paul Brunson.
more couples,
This could be the start of a very successful marriage.
and more surprises.
Or maybe not.
Everything is just not enough.
You're a little bit crazy.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I want my fairy tale ending.
Married at First Sight now streaming. New episodes Thursdays only on Peacock.
This episode is brought to you by Adobe Firefly, the all-in-one creative studio with AI-powered image and video generation. Built for today's creative process, Firefly helps you generate, edit, and experiment fast. Because the asks aren't getting smaller, and the timelines? Woo, yeah, still tight. With all the best creative AI models in one place, Firefly brings your ideas to life. Learn more at adobe.com/firefly.
This episode is brought to you by Perfect Bistro Cat Food. Cats, this ad is for you. Has your human ever called you picky, persnickety, choosy? If so, Perfect Bistro Cat Food is for you. With ingredients like wild-caught tuna and pasture-raised lamb, tantalizing textures, and delectable flavors that meet even the most discerning cat standards. You're not picky, you're just perfectionists. Perfect Bistro, mealtime perfection for every cat. Have your human visit perfectbistro.com.
Well, let's get to the breakdown of this movie to figure out exactly what it is you are missing. We're going to start with Brandon Aurett, who stars as William Nix. This is the guy who's running the couples therapy retreat. Your thoughts on him?
Okay, he was actually pretty good, but I think I need therapy after, like, Yeah, you know what? I don't know. There was something about the lead up of the character that I was like, oh, I'm just waiting for the turn. You know, like, is he like he's got like a dark streak? Like, what is it about this guy? There's something not quite right there, and you know, you get to find out that, okay, spoilers. You know, he's having marital issues as well, which is ironic. You know, leading a couples therapy retreat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the actor, okay, great. He played it well. Very good. But, yeah, just this movie just fell far in deep waters with me.
Is it weird that I'm probably going to say things where you're going to sit there, look at me, and question my taste in movies here? Because I think of the 4 films, this one may have handled the humans a little bit better. Hear me out. Okay? Remember, we're grading on a curve with these films here. The first film, the very first film, Two-Headed Shark Attack, you had Brooke Hogan's character, you had Dude That Knows Everything, and after that, everyone else was pretty much just like fodder. And even then, there wasn't much character development between those characters. So it was like, hey, we're on a party boat that's supposed to be a study boat, and we're all going to do dumb things that gets us eaten. Fine. Okay. Three-Headed Shark Attack may be the actual best one. This is the one with Danny Trejo and Rob Van Dam. But even there are certain things where I sit there and question. But at least that film gave us a reason why a three-headed shark may actually exist. That one wasn't bad. Five-Headed Shark Attack, yeah, it's okay. I find Five-Headed Shark Attack may be the second worst of the series. I would put this as second best of the series. And I say that because, A, you have a smaller cast of shark fodder to work with. B, you actually spent the time introducing us to these characters and giving each of them at least a uniqueness to them. And there's a reason why they're all there. And there isn't any extra random fodder people to get rid of. It is the 4 couples, so 8 people there. You've got William, who's running the thing. You do have a couple people that are working for William. They kind of get killed off and whatever. But at least, and this film does actually explain how this 6-headed shark actually exists. So from a character perspective, I think this film should actually get a little bit of a hat tip for having probably the most developed humans of the entire series.
Oh, come on. Most developed humans, but the most unlikely matchups of couples.
Oh, we're going to get to that. Don't you worry about that.
World.
But at least we had a reason for them to be there. As opposed to, you go back to the second one, right? You even complained that there was like 20 people there that had no purpose being there whatsoever, and yet they were there, and then they were dead, and that was it, and we didn't care about them. And then in 3, there was the party boat, and random people there, and then dead.
And then we have this one where you're actually like on the shark side.
For some of them, yes.
Like, there were couples that I was like applauding when they met their demise.
As there's always going to be. Yes, I completely agree. But getting back to William Nix here, as played by Brandon Norad, the one thing I liked about at least the writing of this character is that he's not some guy who has an answer for everything. William's running on instinct through the entire thing. Instinct and fear. And that's the other thing, too, that this film, I think, does very well, is portray fear into the humans.
Yeah, like the storm that was coming and then never actually materialized.
We had a rando tsunami that only hit 2 people and not take out the entire island in the first film. You're not wrong about the storm. I completely agree. But at least we had a more concise cast to deal with. Now, I'm not familiar with any of these actors except for Brandon Orett, who's been in movies like Chappie and District 9 and Elysium and Rebel Moon. But we've talked about him before because he was also in The Last Days of American Crime, which may be one of the worst Netflix films we've ever talked about. And we talked about that film on Grading on a Curve, the worst films on Netflix. But I like the fact that no one in this group of humans was a know-it-all, was a almost superhuman. Like, William felt very real to me. And I like the fact that there's a little bit more depth. There's a little bit more. He's a bit of an onion, right? He's teaching couples therapy on this resort through a company that he and his ex had actually set up. He was more like kind of like a Jeff Probst on the host of Survivor, right? Had these team building exercises that they do on the beach, and that's a big part of couples therapy. And then all of a sudden you have the therapist who is his ex, and the reason why all these people went there, because apparently this is some world famous therapist. Were there moments of overacting? Yes, absolutely. But I didn't hate him in this.
I didn't hate him. I hated the overall movie. Like, this was definitely the worst in my eyes.
See,
and I
see it as the second best of the franchise.
I cannot agree with you.
Okay, so let me ask you that. Before we even get into the couples, is Three-Headed Shark Attack the best of the series? The one with Danny Trejo? Or is it Five-Headed Shark Attack? Or is it Two-Headed Shark Attack?
If I had to rank them.
Which you do now, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would go 3, 2, 5, and then 6. And in fact, I would never watch 6 again. You can't pay me enough. So
Well, I don't pay you now to begin with. So it's not like there's money to be made in this.
I would sooner watch, I don't know, Shark versus Piranha or whatever the heck else there is. The Six-Headed Shark movie in my mind was an absolute waste of about 2 hours.
See, I think we're very much in agreement that Three-Headed Shark Attack is the best of the 4 films.
Yes.
But Six-Headed Shark Attack for me is the second best. And then I go 5, and then I go 2. So it is really kind of fascinating to see what we both see in these films. And I will agree that Sharknado was a bit more of a fun journey to go on last year, but I didn't hate this run.
No, I didn't hate the run until this movie. I can quite honestly say I hated, but I didn't hate the other 3.
Okay,
so,
fair enough. But that's the beauty part about this show is that we're not going to see eye to eye on everything, but it is interesting to see why we don't see eye to eye on everything. Now, when it comes to the couples, we're going to be dealing with these people as couples as opposed to individuals, because in some cases, you only had someone there for a short span of time. So we're going to start with Tandy Sebi as Mary and Cord Newman as James. So this is the couple that lasted the longest and maybe the couple that seemed the least likely to actually be a couple. Your thoughts on these two?
yeah. Again, there were some motley couples on this island. You almost have to kind of wonder, or it's no surprise really that they'd be in couples therapy, because you're like, how did these two wind up together in the first place?
Yeah, that's the biggest question. And just even from a on-screen presence perspective, like Tandy Sebi as Mary, I liked her in this film. I did.
Okay, I liked her. She liked the lead of the island.
Oh, okay, but it's not like she liked him per se. It's just that James felt like he had a very low self-esteem. I mean, that probably happens when you look like you should be a sub-in musician for the Spin Doctors. I get that. But the thing is, he comes off as a little whiny, and then a little possessive, and then a little psycho. And that's okay because it does add a little bit of tension in the human side of this film. It's okay to have characters that are a little wacky, a little out there, a little murderous. That's fine.
He looked like he could be her father. So you have to wonder if there was money there. Like
the biggest thing about these couples is they never actually explain their backstory. Now, some of these couples, they do absolutely come off as proper couples. We're going to get to those a little bit later. But Mary and James don't feel like they should have been a couple in the first place.
No, not at all.
Like, maybe it's some weird thing where, like, the opposites attract. Maybe they got drunk at a bar. I don't know. Who knows, right? Mary feels like the kind of person who would go on a retreat. And at least they set it up that way. This was her idea. This was all her plan. She saw this, knew of the therapist, and, her idea. So for James to not even want to try to do that little teepee-looking ladder walk, and then she does it with the guy who's running it, like, all of that makes sense. I think they set up these two characters to end up exactly as they did by the end of the film in a good way. Like, he's insecure and very paranoid and conspiracy theorist-esque kind of thing. And she's, able-bodied, pretty athletic, and runs on the same kind of instinct that William does, which is why James is very suspicious of her having a thing for him. I didn't hate the writing of these two, but you're right. Cord Newman and Tandy Sebi don't look like they should have been a couple to begin with. But I didn't mind the way that the characters were written. Jonathan Pienaar and Nikita Faber as Duke and Daphne. Now, Duke doesn't stick around long enough because he's like the first of the couples to get eaten. And then Daphne does make it pretty close to the end. But again, here you have another couple where I'm just like, are you guys really a couple? Because you're both a little kind of out there.
None of it was believable.
I don't even know if I'd say none of it was believable, because we're going to get to one of the couples where I'm like, no, I do believe this couple. But the thing is, like, Jonathan Pienaar was a little over the top. The minute all of a sudden, like, he gets the idea of creating a boomstick in order to be able to attack the shark, it's almost like he went into some like shark hunter trance kind of thing. But there's a line in here that almost makes it reasonable, where Daphne leans over, and I can't remember who she's talking to, and it's like, he's a used car salesman. And it's like, oh, I get it. He's like a weekend warrior. He's like one of those guys who, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, is just, it is no prospects, dead end kind of job. And then come the weekend, it's off to the woods and pretending you're freaking on an episode of Survivor. So I kind of get that. They made Daphne hornier than a rhino at the beginning of this film.
Oh, yeah. No, I have no doubt she would have slept around the island if they were there long enough.
Right. I do like how they switched. Once Duke got eaten in the most horribly CGI way possible, I like that they leaned Daphne more into grief and survival mode as opposed to just continuing to be horny. I think Daphne was better in the second half of the film.
Yeah, I'll get that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe she was just happy the life insurance was paid up, or I don't know.
But that's the thing. Like, there was no reason for her to be hitting on the one guy, be like, how do you feel? And it's like, oh, girl got horny on the island. But the thing is, it's like she's still kind of into Duke. I'm like, what is her story? She got better written the minute Duke was out of the picture. But I'm also not necessarily spoilers like a mofo to your listeners, because here's where we're going to get into how some of these people are killed. What were your thoughts on her, like, almost hearing and seeing Duke and then basically sacrificing herself to the shark god?
Yeah.
Hear me out on this one. This reminded me a little bit. Did you ever read Stephen King's The Stand? Or at least see the original miniseries that they put on TV?
Yes and yes.
Okay. So when I was reading The Stand, the first half of The Stand, the first 2 parts, because it's in 4 parts, the first 2 parts I couldn't put down. It was just page turner. The first half of The Stand, maybe some of Stephen King's best written work. And then it gets a little mystical in the third one. And then it's like you get to the end, and I really felt this with the miniseries. It's like, how the hell do you end this? Oh, Hand of God comes down and touches off a bomb. What? It's almost like they had no way else to get rid of Daphne than for her to walk out onto the rocks and then for the 6-headed shark to, like, do some weird cartwheel somersault over the rocks and eat her in midair.
Is it bad that there were a number of kills that I actually applauded? I was rooting for the shark.
Oh, I root for the shark in a lot of these situations, but the thing is, it's like you wrote out Daphne because you had no other way to write her out. And I'm sitting here thinking, why not let her live?
Why, though? Why would you? Why?
But why kill her so slap-handedly?
But the characters added absolutely nothing to the story. There was really no story aside from couples therapy. Okay, so you've got some way mismatched couples, and they're trying somehow to save their relationship, which, okay, good for them.
Spoiler alert and narrator voice, they would not save their relationship.
But aside from that premise, none of them added anything to this movie. There was no story aside from setting up, possibly their why of being there, which wasn't even addressed with all the couples, but that's okay. I mean, you don't need to know everybody's story.
No, you don't need to necessarily. The why they were there made sense. The why they were in couples therapy, no, you're right. You didn't necessarily need to know that, but at least it made sense why these 4 couples were there. And I like that there wasn't too many other people on the outside of the storyline.
Aside from that, though, I mean, I'm comparing to the other movies where the characters at least brought something to the story to help it move forward. At least something. Like, give us something. And there was nothing to give of any of these couples, any of the 8. They really added nothing. I mean, aside from, okay, you mentioned the one guy who, like, made this, like, shark
boomstick.
Yeah, for lack of a better term, like a poker. Like,
yeah,
great. Okay, so you're gonna get it in the eye. Which one? One of the 6. Like, really?
Okay, but hear me out on this one here. Okay. This is why I think I liked this film as much as I did in comparison to the others. Okay. In 2-headed shark attack, 3-headed shark attack, and 5-headed shark attack, it felt like everyone was more on the offensive against the shark. This is the one film of the series where I felt like they were almost playing by horror movie rules and everyone was more on the defensive, aside from Duke, but yet he was also the first of the 8 to be killed.
But sell me on it. Like, what am I missing? Did you find any sort of a forward-moving story? Did you find a reason to like this movie? Obviously, because it's second in the ranking. What am I missing?
First off, really there were no extraneous characters. And even like the initial, because this is a bit of a multi-headed shark attack signature, they do a bunch of random killings at the beginning of the film to set up how many heads are on the shark. This has been through the entire series. But at least they came back to that, and we discover that these were scientists that were experimenting on these sharks, and specifically this shark. And those experiments were the ones was what basically caused it to create or grow the 6 heads. And to the same token as well, there wasn't much fodder to deal with, right? You had it felt like either like a Nightmare on Elm Street film or a Friday the 13th film, especially the Friday the 13th films, right? Because they'd go up to camp and then all of a sudden, pick them off one at a time kind of thing. Or even Jason X, which I love Jason X. I think it's just campy fun. But they do play by horror movie rules on this, and they didn't make you sit there and go, well, who the fuck is this person?
No, but it felt more like, okay, let's go to this location. Okay, we're done here, or there's been a kill. Let's go somewhere else.
Was it well plotted out from the geography of where they were shooting? No, I do agree with you there. Because, yeah, there was that one scene where they're swimming away from the boat to get to land. I'm like, swim the other way. You're right there.
That's my point. I'm like, the boat is nearly docked on that island. Like, why don't you go there?
No.
Why get into the shark-infested water and swim?
Yeah. Like, if you're looking at a map of the cove that they're on kind of thing, yes, I completely agree with you that they did not plot this well, and they didn't necessarily shoot it well. From a writing perspective, I think the characters are a little bit more developed and have more reason to be there than some of the other films. And at no point did I sit there and go, why the hell are you here except to take your shirt off? Which is, we saw that in 5, and we saw that in 3 as well.
But there was no plot.
There was a plot, though. I mean,
what?
Yes, the plot is shark kills people. I get that. But also the shark is at least enraged by the fact that it was experimented on. And it also, and we talked about this in the last one, in 5-Headed Shark Attack, where everyone seemed to die if they got too close to the edge of the boat. And it was kind of almost predictable. Here, they added something to the shark's abilities in that. So let me describe the shark, dear listeners, because sometimes you gotta see it to believe it. But just let me tell you about this here. So you have 2 heads at the front of the shark, and yet you have 2 heads on either side of the shark that worked like hands, or at least like feet, and how it was walking around like a freaking scorpion on the land. So now you've added a new danger from the shark in its quest to attack the people. This is the one film I feel where it actually elevates the shark's abilities and ups the game a little bit.
But the people had no moving motivation except for to stay alive.
Yes, that's a horror movie, though.
I know, but there was no, at least a backstory. At least in other movies, they're trying to capture the shark. They're trying to study the shark. They're trying to, stay alive.
But yeah, they are. They are trying to survive this shark. So,
yeah.
I mean, is it as cut dry, simple as some of the others? Maybe not, but I feel like the scaled down cast and the purpose for them being at least there makes a little bit more sense to me anyways. And it's okay for us to not see eye to eye on this film.
I'm glad you liked it.
I
I'm happy for you. This is our therapy right now.
Chris Fisher as Jake and Megan Oberholzer as Sarah. So this is the conspiracy theorist and the meteorologist. At least these two felt like they meant to be together.
No, this is the couple that I was rooting for their demise. I was like, okay, they both annoy me. But bring on the shark. They were the first to go, right?
No. Well, Duke was the first to go, and Daphne sat in grief world for a little bit. But as a couple, yes, these were the two. Because remember, they died because there was a storm coming, and then all of a sudden they're on the platform, and then they fall down the hole, and the shark eats them that way. But sometimes you just need to have jackass people to act as shark fodder. But at least they made these people obnoxious enough so you enjoyed seeing them get eaten.
That's true. At least of all of the couples, I think their story, or at least their conflict, was the best fleshed out.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The mere fact that Jake was a conspiracy theory nut and he wanted to go off and see this like secret research facility, and it turns out that research was what created the six-headed shark in the first place. Jake all of a sudden has purpose for being there. And then, of course, Sarah being a weather girl / meteorologist kind of thing. And there's both of them were so out there that at least I believed these two as a couple. That's the thing. Like, so far, between Duke and Daphne and Mary and James, those two couples didn't feel like proper couples. Jake and Sarah? Hells yes. But then you had Namus Sebi and Tapiwa Musvasi, and again, apologies if I messed up the name, as Angie and Kip. I was rooting for this couple because at points they looked like they were actually reconnecting. Now remember, Kip was the one where Daphne was hitting on him.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think there was definitely some infidelity issues there that maybe they had to work on.
But at least
his eyes, they strayed quite easily.
But at least it gave you a reasonable understanding of why they might actually be in therapy.
Mm-hmm.
But then throughout the whole film, or like after that, it's like he's looking after her and he's taking care of her. And, running his hand through her hair and on her face kind of thing. And it's like he's comforting her. And when they died, when the shark got them, the shark got both of them at the same time. They went out together. I liked this couple. I did.
Let's admit, she was far too beautifully made up for someone who just swam from one boat to an island and, is fearing for her life. Her makeup and hair were on point.
Right.
So that was totally unbelievable. I'm like, no. She looks way too good to be, running for her life right now.
But from a scripting perspective as well, Kip all of a sudden became the voice of the person sitting on the couch. He's calling out everything where he's like, that's a stupid idea. And I'm like, oh my God, I agree with the character in this. Like, we do that, we're going to die. I'm agreeing with him again. It became almost comedic. Like, it was almost like you had a character in the film with the dialogue that you would expect from someone from Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Right. No, I can see that.
And that created a little bit of levity, which you needed at that point. I think this film didn't necessarily shy away from those kind of moments, which is kind of helped it a little bit, I think. But I liked the character, and I think they both went out exactly how you wanted them to go out. One more person to talk about here, Caitlin Hardy, who played Suzanne Nick. So this is William's ex, who wanted the signatures on the paperwork that signed off on the divorce and on the camp and whatnot. and then met her untimely demise. Your thoughts on her?
Yeah, she was schlepping the captain of her boat.
Who became the most ineffectual person in the entire film.
Yeah, I don't think he had an actual line, but you could just tell.
Yeah, but the thing is, you build up the connection between William and Suzanne. You build up the fact that he's admitting and throwing his heart right out there on Front Street, right? And you can see Suzanne, reciprocating, right? And then you kill her off in like the weakest ass way possible. I mean, yeah, her new guy kind of died in like the cyclone whirlpool thing that the shark was creating and died with the boat, whatever. But it's like you build up this point where Suzanne's making her way back, and then you kill her. And it's like, it gives at least William a moment to shine a little bit from an acting perspective. But if you don't build it up and then rip our guts out with this.
Well, they made it look like they were already dead. And, there was a moment where I was like, well, then who did the shark get if it wasn't them?
Yeah.
Because they made it look like whoever the shark ate was wearing the exact same red jacket. And I'm like, as the ship's captain or her new man or whatever.
Exactly.
And they kind of made it look like this couple was already dead, but then, oh, no, look, they're not.
No, she jumped off the boat and she's swimming, but she didn't make it to shore. So,
everything's fine. And then it's not again.
But that's the thing, too. It's like, don't build up the idea of Mary and William getting together so shortly after he's just witnessed his ex, who he still loves, and we have seen admit that he still loves her, get chewed up by the shark in the most way possible. Okay. I kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier, but we need to talk about this because so far in the series, the shark had been in water, occasionally jumps out of the water to climb up on a boat or snatch a helicopter out of the sky. These things happen in these films. But this shark walked on land using 4 of the 6 heads as legs. Is it me? Or did this look like if Tim Burton turned the song Baby Shark into a movie?
Especially when one of the sharks ripped off a head and the little baby head grew in.
But at least we had that a little bit developed in that in 3-headed Shark Attack, when Danny Trejo cut off the middle head of the shark, 3 heads came out of that hole.
Oh, I was a little disappointed it was just the one.
Yeah, but then it would be like 9-headed Shark Attack, 8-headed Shark Attack? Don't make me do the math on this.
Next movie.
But do you feel like at least they upped and added something new to the shark's repertoire of death?
I was just disappointed that there was no helicopter at any given point.
There's another thing, too, that they did differently than everything else. No helicopters were flown in or harmed at all in this movie.
Well, they lost it on the budget on 5-headed shark.
Fair enough.
Sharks jumping out of water to eat a helicopter in flight. That's budget right there.
But it almost feels like you were looking for the helicopter, though. Tell me you weren't looking for the helicopter at the end.
I was so disappointed when they rolled credits, and I'm like, where's my helicopter?
Right?
Yeah. It's almost kind of like, as far as budget, though, you got to admit that this one couldn't have had much budget.
Well, I mean,
they didn't spend a lot on the making of this because there weren't a lot of locations.
No. I mean, they did film it in South Africa. They did take advantage of the coastline that they had, that they were working with. But to the same token as well, I mean, you take a look at some of the films that are out there today, and it's like a movie like Obsession had next to no budget, but it was able to do really, really well. The Asylum's signature is make a film on a low to no budget and pump it out onto the Sci-Fi Network and then on streaming, and you make your money that way. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy a good bad B movie as much as the next guy with a podcast that likes to talk about bad movies. That's me. But I didn't hate this. I didn't.
I did.
I know you did.
I hated this movie.
Well, that's going to make my next question real awkward here. Who is your MVP of Six-Headed Shark Attack?
The shark.
Oh, come on.
The shark for the shark crawl. Yeah.
The Funko Pop looking shark.
Yeah. Give it to the shark.
I'm going to argue that based on something that you said while we were watching this film. Because one thing that you mentioned while we were watching this is that the score was actually pretty good. The music.
Oh, that's true. It was.
All right. So if I may make a suggestion for you, Christopher Cano and Chris Ridenour were the composers of the music from Six-Headed Shark Attack. And yes, that plays a big part in this. And maybe that's why I like this a little bit more than Two-Headed and Five-Headed Shark Attack, is that this, and I don't think you would disagree, this is probably the best score of the four films.
It was definitely the most notable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Okay, fair enough on that one. See, you found something to like about this movie.
The music.
Right? Hey, that is a massive part of the film. You cannot disagree with that.
Okay, but all I'm asking, please, dear Asylum, give me more. Give me a plot. Give me a reason to care about these couples.
I thought you were asking for more heads on the shark. Give me Seven-Headed Shark Attack.
No, actually, no, we're done. Don't give me another
10-headed shark attack?
Multi-headed shark. Nope.
No. All right.
A shark in the round.
Right?
Yeah, 10 heads. Yeah, like
a sharkfish, like a starfish, but like a star shark?
Yeah.
All right. I'm down with that. All right. So my MVP is the guy whose name I have been struggling with the entire episode. Apologies to Tapiwa Musvasi, who played Kip. Basically the voice of the audience. I liked him in this. He was the comedic relief. He was, even though he was a little horny for Daphne, I get that, but I liked his arc through the whole film. I thought he was enjoyable to watch, went out like a boss. I liked him.
I thought he was a bit daft. There were some scenes where he was kind of fumbling through, and it's
you keep me around and I'm way daft.
Well, yeah, but you're cute.
I am cute, yeah. Just, I know it's an audio podcast, but just know I'm cute. My wife tells me so. It's all good.
And daft.
And I'm straight up daft. Who else would have come up with an idea for this podcast? Let's watch bad movies and we'll try to find good things to say about it. I am straight up daft. If that is the thoughts that came out of my head 240 episodes into this podcast, and all of a sudden we're like, oh, yeah, maybe this was a bad idea to begin with.
No, it's a great idea.
It's a great idea. It's a fun idea.
This movie was a bad idea.
Are there bad ideas?
But it took you 240 tries to get to be wrong. So that's a pretty good run.
It's a good batting average right there.
It's been a good run.
I am below the Mendoza line in the best way possible.
I wonder, is this the movie that's going to make me quit? No. I'm sticking around at least for grading.
Because I was about to say, dear listeners, in 2 weeks' time, Grading on a Curve returns, celebrating our 5-year anniversary. And trust me when I say, you do not know what's coming to you. But until that time, you know the drill. If there's a movie there that you think is unfairly maligned or is so bad that there is no way in a couples therapy retreat that we can find anything good to say about it, hit us up on social media at NotThatBadcast or go to our website, NotThatBadcast.com. Until then, she's Carrie. I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is It's Not That Bad, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.
Hey, this is Eric Hutchinson. I've joined the Pantheon podcast family, and I hope you'll come check out my new podcast, Songversations with Eric Hutchinson. Each week, we find out what music matters most to the people who define our cultures. I interview famous guests like actors, musicians, comedians, politicians, and everyone in between. We listen to music together, and we talk about the soundtrack of our lives. It's funny, insightful, revealing, and it's a great way to discover new music. So come check me out. Songversations with Eric Hutchinson, wherever you get your podcasts.